Welcome into PrepAquatics.com. I am Skylar King. As always, you can email me, Skylar@PrepAquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter, @SkylarPrep. Lots to get into as we had a huge weekend of conference meets this past weekend. Not a very big weekend for conference meets this upcoming weekend, but we will talk about that a little bit at the end of the show. Jumping right in, obviously I was at the Hinsdale LT meet. Always a fun one. It's kind of a heads-up meet. Although Oak Park made things a lot more interesting than they do in most years. Oak Park normally stinks at conference, as most of their kids are typically shading for sectionals. But they sort of did a off events, everybody suited thing, and it made them a lot more fun for conference. I mean, I'm fine with it for them because they really don't have state aspirations this year. If they do that next year, I'll be disappointed, because next year they should really be thinking about trying to score 3 relays and get as many points as possible at the state meet, so don't suit for conference. But it made things more interesting. You know, LT won, they should have. Without that second, third guy in a dual meet setting, Hinsdale's depth just didn't mean as much. They also pushed in diving, where Hinsdale outscored LT in diving in the dual meet. So it's a split conference title in the West Suburban Silver, which is to be expected. Nothing outrageous out of the taper swims. You know, there was certainly some good swims. Kids that you could see that are going to be contributors next year on relays for both teams. Certainly for LT. LT graduates so much that the majority of their state team for next year might have been tapered on Saturday. But it's you know, it was a good meet. You got to see the young kids drop, which is always exciting. And it'll be interesting to see what those two teams do at sectionals and how they look. And Oak Park as well. You know, for Oak Park, they're in a tough spot, I think, because they're clearly the best team in their sectional. But Fenwick, in all likelihood, is going to suit everybody, with the possible exception of Liam Hutchinson. But even if Hutchinson's not and everybody else is, it definitely puts Oak Park in a spot where, I mean, they've got to go the cuts. You know, they can't just waltz in and win relays to go to state, and so they'll likely suit for the sectional as well. We'll see who from Hinsdale suits. That seems to have become more popular for them in recent years, and hasn't really harmed them any at the state meet. So I guess why not do it? But it's going to be interesting. Jumping around to some of these other conference meets. Speaking of Fenwick, the Metro Catholic League, and speaking of suits, it seemed like Ignatius might have put some suits on, because right off the bat, 139.3 for furlong, a full 2-second drop in the 200 free, which is just suspicious, to be honest with you. But what a opening individual event. 39.3 for furlong, 42.1 for Maurer, 42.6 for Michael Balserac, and then 42.8 for Hutchinson. Whew. That's a heck of a conference meet to have 4 guys going under 143. But this, you know, the guy that's not in there that won the IM, Will Camps, this is just case in point for me that, you know, and I've thought it all year, but Camps has got to go the IM. When you got, and that's not to say he couldn't have fired up and got in the middle of that. And, you know, beat Hutchinson, you know, I don't think there was any chance he was going to beat Furlong. But even if he's going to fire up and beat Maurer, I mean, there's 4 guys in your own conference that are sub 43. And then there's still the other 4 guys that are back from last year that were top 6 that aren't at this meet. And so that's just a lot to ask. I mean, we saw Lehman go 43 for Hinsdale on Saturday. Clausen's already been 42 for LT earlier this year. The 200 is just a stay away for me. I'd be trying any way I could to get out of the 200 free if I had alternatives. But Camp's 155.9, he dominated the IM. Mizgala 21.1, Parker Nolan 21.4, the freshman for Ignatius. Ignatius's relays, especially the free relays, should be very good. I'm not going to buy in on Ignatius until they do it, because they've they've gotten my hopes up before. 50.3 Mizgala. That was a conference record set by Balsarac 2 years ago. He's swum really fast all year. And Nolan Fergus 51.9. That was a heck of a swim for him as well. Balsarac 45.8. Again, this guy's the defending state champion, and in all likelihood, he could give Stensby a run. I've just seen too many good things out of Stensby. 46.2 Parker Nolan. This is, as you'll see, we'll talk about the DDC meet a little later. Parker Nolan 46.28, one of 2 freshmen on Saturday to go 46 in the Open 100 free. Just incredible. And we had an incredibly deep freshman class last year. We didn't have anybody going 46 in season. Over a second drop for Parker Nolan in the 100 free from 47.3 to 46.2. And then Luke Maurer with the piddly 46.8 for third. You know what? Like the 200. I mean, the lot of fast swims at this Metro Catholic meet. Furlong drops over 6 seconds in the 500, 4:30.58, breaking his own conference record. Hutchinson 4:38, Camps 4:41. Loaded freestyle events at the Metro Catholic meet. Just incredible. We mentioned Ignatius' relays 1:26.0, third fastest time of the year, behind that Stevenson-Dutrue duel that I went to. And you know, look, they still got to show up and drop it. You know, it's probably going to take 24, maybe 24.0 to go top 6. You know, how much is Parker Nolan going to drop from 21.0 relay split? Furlong 21.2 out of the 500. It's always tricky to have a 500 guy having to come out of that 500 and then go the 50 free on a relay. And so, you know, they should have been faster, to be honest. Mizgala only let off 21.6. But I mean, that's not that crazy. We've seen a lot of guys go the Open 50 and then tire out by the time they get to that 200 relay. So yeah, I mean, this was a really fast meet when it comes to freestyle. 3:09.8 for Ignatius, 3:12.8 for Marmion, 3:17 Loyola. Just a really fun fast meet. I'll try and speed it up here as we go along. St. Charles North looked like they might have dropped drag for this meet with which is basically a heads-up duel, kind of like LT Hinsdale with St. Charles East. And it paid off for them. They won conference, which they shouldn't have on paper with St. Charles East depths. But 35.8 for North, 37.4 for East in the medley. Both of St. Charles North's 200 guys dropped 2.5 seconds. Whitehurst and Williams, 45.3, 45.6. I mean, those are really fast times for those guys based on how they've been swimming all year, which is why I think some of these guys probably dropped drag. Meyer is the one guy that really didn't swim faster than he typically does. 156.6 in the IM. He was 25.4 in the relay. But a lot of these other St. Charles North guys dropped time. 52.4 for Baxter in the fly. 53.1 for Philip Hovick in the fly. That was a 2-second drop, even though he doesn't swim the fly as often, obviously. So he might have been suited for that because he's not going to taper it, kind of like Oak Park did. And so, you know, St. Charles North, again, this is a super talented team. 4:44 for Brad Whitehurst, over a 7-second drop in the 500. We talked about Furlong's drop, and similarly almost a 7-second drop for Ricky Williams in the 500 449. It was kind of weird to drop that much time for a lot of these guys, the sectional kids. 126.7 for St. Charles North in the 200 relay with basically their state guys, Meyer, Filipovic, Baxter, and Whitehurst. And, that's a relay that's going to be in top 6 contention. Their 400 is not going to be nearly as good because Meyer's not going to be on it. But that 200 relay, we know about the medley with Meyer and the breaststroke, but that 200 relay is going to be really good for them as well. Backstroke, Malash, 52.5. Again, this is a kid that didn't come out for the high school team last year. He's going to be really good at the end of the year. Filipovic, 53.7. Almost a full second drop on the 100 back. And, it was, again, it's basically a dual meet, but St. Charles North won the big races with East on Saturday. Meyer 56.9, actually 0.8 slower than his varsity record from last year. So he looks like he's ready to taper. St. Charles East 3:14.8 won the 400 relay, but it was too little too late for East at that point as North gets the close win. We'll just basically touch on a few kids from the city meet. One is Zabados. We know about him, big freshman year last year, 143.5 in the 200, which is a big swim for him. And then in the fly, 51.2. Again, I got to see him taper. The other kid to watch in the CPS is Jaden Olson. This is a backstroker from Jones Prep, and I'll be honest, I've never watched him. I can't really tell you a ton about the kid, but I can tell you about his coach. His coach is Paul Anderson. He was at Addison Trail, so he was involved with the Zito brothers. He was Kelly McNamara's coach when she won a state title. He knows how to coach talented kids. This is one of the things that I always say when you get a kid from kind of an obscure school or obscure program is, does this boy or girl have a coach that knows what they're doing when it comes to taper time? Paul Anderson does. He's going to give this kid the best possible chance to score. And, I mean, when you go in 51 in the backstroke in season, he's probably going to do it. And the question is going to be, is he going to sneak into the top 6 or not? So, great season so far for Jaden Olson. And, I expect that he'll be in the mix come Friday afternoon in that 100 backstroke at the state meet. Jumping into the last meet that we'll talk about from this past weekend was the DBC meet, which was an incredible meet. If you were there, good for you, because it was an exciting one. Times-wise, it was okay. No one really did anything crazy that they hadn't done before. Not a ton of people even beat their seed times of the top guys. II Chow did set a new meet record, new conference record in the fly, 50.61. And I mentioned this earlier. Connor Boyle, 46.99 in the 100 free, freshman from Neuqua Valley. This kid is going to be the franchise for Neuqua Valley for the next 3 years after this. Neuqua should be pretty good again next year, and Connor Boyle is going to be the #1 reason why. And he's right now, he's a 200 guy. It's almost inexplicable how fast his 100 is. Almost makes you think he should be a 50 guy, because he's only going 145, 144 in the 200, but he's going 46 in the 100. That's big time speed out in 22.3 for a freshman. You got to think this kid's only going to get stronger. But this meet was, as I said, an incredible meet to be at, I'm sure, especially if you were from Neuqua and Waubonsie Valley. Because this sucker came down to the last relay between these two schools. And, we talked about Chow. The only other guy that was a real standout, Ben Kimmel, who scored as a freshman last year in the backstroke for Lake Park, 51.04 to win the backstroke in dominant fashion over a guy like Simpson, who we know is one of the better backstrokers in the state. And so we just mentioned 3 backstrokers now between Olson and Kimmel and Simpson, who all should be top 6 contenders this year. But it came down to the last relay, and Neuqua Valley 3:10.5 with a 46.4 from Boyle on the end, and Waubonsie 3:11.7. And first of all, Neuqua won by 3.5 points. So that relay, whoever won that relay was going to decide the meet. And then you got to think, the first thing I did when I saw this result was, what were we at the 300? We were within 4/10, these 2 relays, at the 300 mark. And then Boyle went 46.4 and Nishpandi went 47.2. And so what a spot for a freshman to be in. 2 underclassmen really, when you think about Nishpandi too. I mean, what a race and what a meet, and especially for Waubonsie, what a job by Coach Ahrens to get these guys to perform this well and get this. Again, I thought Neuqua was going to win this relatively easily because of their depth, but it really shows you how deep Waubonsie was this year, and especially there is no Brian Ellig in these results. We knew about Cole Steffel with the shoulder being out. Ellig would have won them this meet. That's how good Waubonsie performed this past Saturday, is that they should have won this conference meet if Brian Ellig had been available. Even if he didn't swim a relay, they would have won, because their number 2 breaststroker went 1:03.5 and got 8th. And with Ellig in there, if he goes 1:01.9, he's 4th, and that's 6 points right there. So, incredible meet by both Neuqua and Waubonsie, but certainly one Waubonsie would have won if they'd have been at full strength, especially if you include Steffel being out for the year. So nice jobs by both those teams. And all I'm saying, I don't know how big they're going to score at state, but Naperville Central, Larkin, waiting for the Mike Adams magic to happen, and because they had some really nice swims from their Tabor kids, highlighted by the Hagenbaumer boys, who were both 21 relay split on the JV level, and probably should be in the mix for the Redhawks next year in some free relays. So looking ahead now, obviously you have Stevenson going to conference this weekend. They are just going to lambaste everybody in the NSC. They could probably swim their JV lineup and win by 100 at that meet. And so it'll be interesting to see what their Tabor guys do, because obviously there's really not a ton of seniors for Stevenson, but it will give an idea potentially of who might be ready to help contribute for them next year. And then the meet that I'm going to be at, which is the CSL South meet. It's the meet I typically go to on this weekend. And we know about New Trier, and we know that New Trier is probably going to win by 200 points. But I'm interested in Glenbrook South, because this is a young team. Most of their best guys are young and aren't going to be tapered, but they're probably going to have a tapered kid or two that might help them next year when they're thinking about making a dark horse run at a trophy. And, Keith McDonald's been down this road before and knows how to handle these talented kids. He had a nice group about a decade ago now. When you talk about that Hengels, Kubelik, Deletto, that whole crew, when they set the state record on the 200 relay that should have got broken last year but didn't. I expect Glenbrook South to have some good drops this weekend, and then make a little noise come state meet if they can get some of these guys through without doing too much in sectionals. Next week, we'll be looking ahead to sectional Saturday, when the tensions are high and everyone's on the edge of their seat. It'll be a Wednesday or Thursday show next week. My work schedule is even crazier next week than it is typically. But obviously, if any things come out about who might be swimming what, we'll certainly discuss that. And then just look ahead to any of the top storylines as we head into the 2 weekends of the state series. As always, you can email me, SkylerPrepAquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter at SkylerPrep. We'll be back next week talking sectionals here at PrepAquatics.com.